This is going to be a progression to get my arm up behind my back. Very easy thing to do lightly throughout the day. If I have someone who's really stiff, they may have to hold on to something, so they may need to take a towel. And with their hands facing backward, all I do is keep the towel pressed against my hips. I'm going to very lightly squeeze my shoulders back and lightly reach down. So if you look at my arm from the side, it's a back and down motion of my shoulder. Now gradually, to make this more of a stretch, I'm working on seeing if I can get my hands closer to each other. Now if someone has a pinch or a pain or a tightness in one shoulder, I only want them to go to where they feel like their problematic side, they feel something is a little bit more stiff than the other side. This is definitely a position where if people stretch it too hard, they come out of it and they go, oh, now my shoulder hurts more. So it's not something you want to pull at very aggressively if you have a really sensitive shoulder, right? I always tell people with this one in particular, I'd rather them do it a lot throughout the day than pull really hard once and get really sore with it. So typically the idea is that I want to start with a towel if I need to. And then gradually as my hands can get closer, I would ditch the towel and I would take my hands to the center of my sacrum. And same thing, a light pull back and a light reach down. I'm trying to watch that as I do this. I'm not putting a big arch in my lower back, so I'm always trying to make sure I keep my lower back in a neutral position by keeping my ribs down. And I'm just pulling back and reaching to the floor. Now if that's fine, and let's say my right arm or my right shoulder is my problematic shoulder, I'll take my hands from midline to my opposite hip, and then same thing, I'll pull down and back, almost pressing the back of my hands into my hip. If that's fine, I'll go a little further and I'll go maybe a little bit more up towards my waistline. This left hand is just my anchor for something to hold on to, and it's the same pull down and back. I'm pressing the back of my wrist, and you can see I'm kind of pulling my elbow away from my trunk a little bit. And then the more I climb up this arm, the more I'm binding up tension. So I want to feel some pulling, I just don't want to make it overly uncomfortable or painful. And like we're talking about, the higher I climb up this arm, the more stretch or tension I'm putting on my shoulder. Most people who are limited with this motion because their shoulder's stiff, they compensate by their shoulder blade hiking up and forward to get there. When I go into this stretch, I'm getting my arm there, and then I'm taking away that compensation by pulling my shoulder blade down and back. And like I said, it's an easy thing to do lightly throughout the day, especially if you're someone who is rounded forward quite a bit. If I spend, an hour or so typing or doing something where I'm rounded this way, it's a nice thing to take pressure off the shoulder, even if I do something a little more gentle of just this one, but ideally trying to work my arm deeper into the position to get more of a stretch.